Hi, everybody, and welcome back. I just want to thank everybody before we start for continuing to tune in to watch these little segments that we do with Animal Services. And we want to thank community newspapers for hosting us every single time. We really appreciate all the work that they do for us. And I also want to encourage everybody to share this video because we do have a lot of important topics that we can share with our pet community here in Miami-Dade County. But without further ado, I do want to get started and introduce today's guest, which is Alain Castineira. So not only is he one of my good friends, but he's also the event coordinator at Animal Services. He just became one earlier this year. But before we get into what Alain's background is, we do have a guest down here, which may be a little hard to see. Come here, bud. This is Hercules. So Hercules is a big boy, as you can see. He is a Dogo Argentino mix, possibly with American Bulldog. Who knows? There might be a couple other things there. But I brought Hercules along today because Hercules has been with us for a few months already. He hasn't been adopted. He's around 9 years old, and I do believe that because of his size and because of his age is the reason that he's been overlooked so much. But I'm here to tell you that I've hung out with this dog twice this week already, and this dog is absolutely perfect. This dog is so well trained. He knows sit, he knows down, he knows stay, he knows heel, he knows paw. You can tell he went through lots of obedience training in his younger years. And unfortunately, he ended up at our shelter because his owner sadly lost their home. And then when they were able to find a home, the home that they found unfortunately didn't accept pets of his size. So she had to make the tough decision to surrender him to us. And now he's here with us and he's looking for his home. And this is what he's going to do the rest of the show. So he's just going to lay here and hang out with us. But if you know somebody who's interested in adopting a pet, please share this with them so that they can consider taking this big guy home, because this is the type of dog that really you should be taking home. These are the easy dogs, not the puppies. I promise they're cute and adorable, but there's so much work. This guy's going to be easy and he'll integrate perfectly into your life. Right, bud? All right, so let's talk about you, sir, because I've just been yapping away for the last 3 minutes. But tell us about your background, how you came to Animal Services, like how long you've been there, things like that.
Yeah, so I've been with...
Mic closer to you, because they're not going to hear you.
Good.
I hope so.
All right, so I've been with Animal Services for roughly like 3 years now.
Okay.
So I started off in kennel, animal care specialist, basically cleaning, walking, feeding, just basic animal husbandry.
Right.
From there, I did that for like a year and some months, and then I went into adoption counselor. That was probably my favorite besides event coordinator. Okay. It's a different side of Animal Services. You're more helping the dogs get out.
Right.
You know, the good side.
The good side.
So you're helping these families kind of find their forever pet, and you're just really directly involved. So I really enjoyed that. I did that for about a year. Okay. And so doing that, you're also doing these adoption events. So that's kind of how I got into event coordinator. I was working closely with the event coordinator, my other partner. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of worked out to where when I applied and I got it, and been doing that for like 4 or 5 months now. Really enjoy it because again, just you're involved, not as directly involved, but you're still, getting dogs out in the right way.
Right. And events are a big part of how we get our word out there of the community. Mm-hmm. But you also had a background coming from the zoo, so you already had that animal background. So how was the zoo? Obviously, we have a lot of employees. I know it's not about the zoo, but we have a lot of employees that come from the zoo, and it's like they're still working with animals, but it is a little different. So just tell us the difference and which one do you like more? Hopefully us.
Yeah, 100%. Like you said, it's a complete different scenario, but yeah, no, I definitely like the Animal Services more, dogs, cats, and then you're just more directly involved in like the community. Right. Family wise, everything is just a little bit more like wholesome, I guess, in the heart. Yeah. So yeah, you're just out there helping people out, and yeah, I really enjoy that more.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it is different because people aren't going to the zoo to adopt a pet. Exactly, at the zoo. They're coming to our shelter to adopt a pet. Yeah. So yeah, it's a different target audience, but I can see why it would be very, very different. But to move on, let's talk about events, because we try to host as many events as possible. We talk about them often when we come on here. One of the events that you helped pilot was the medley event, but like tell us more about other events that we host throughout the year. Which ones are more successful, things like that.
Yeah, so like some of our biggest ones is going to be like the mega matchathon, which is usually in around October. We have like the Find Your Love, which is for February. We have I think the Christmas one, I forget what it's called right now.
I do forget what it's called too. I should know that.
Yeah,
but it's okay.
Anyways, yeah, those are usually our biggest ones. Just for like the holidays, we tend to
home for the holidays.
Home for the holidays.
That's what it is. You said holidays. I got it.
Yeah. So we try and get these pups home. Pups, including this guy here.
He's just passed out.
Yeah,
he's chilling.
Yeah, we try and get them home. So usually, what we'll do is like we'll waive adoption fees, tag fees, kind of everything to make it as easy as possible for people to get a new dog home. And then, yeah, we just have other events that we do. Like in recent time, we've done a lot with like the Miami Heat. They help us out a lot because not only are they hosting these adoption events, but obviously they reach a way bigger audience than we do.
For sure.
So with their help, we are able to just promote these dogs a lot better.
Yeah, I did see that. It was actually really nice to see like our pets go up on the big screen during a game. I was like, wow, they like actually put us up. That was so cute. And like all you Heat fans out there, Heat fans are pet fans, so you should be adopting as well.
Yep.
What else was I going to ask you? Wow, I'm like losing it today. It's Friday, guys. Sorry. We have a lot going on this week and we're very excited, which we will talk about a little bit more. But back to events. So you said we have a lot of like good successful events, but I know that we have had like, some events that maybe we just do here and there. Like it's not very often. Like how do we as animal services like measure success within our events to make sure that we, try and like, get as many pets into homes as possible. And it's not like, we're taking a pet and we're there all day and, unfortunately the pet doesn't get adopted. Like, how does that work? Like, I know we did one recently with the fair as well. And I've heard that was successful. Just tell us a little bit more about that. Yeah.
So as much as we would like for every adoption event to be a major success and get all our dogs adopted, unfortunately, that's not the reality. Right. So usually what we try and do is, we'll see obviously how many adoptions we get, but really like what the crowd was like.
Right.
So, we might take 8 dogs, only 2 get adopted, but now way more people know about what we do at Animal Services, like our different programs, what we offer. That's still a success in our eyes.
Right.
But yeah, like you said, the fair was a huge one because I want to say we visited 16 times in the time that they were open. We ended up with 41 adoptions. Wow. Even without those 41 adoptions, though, we're reaching like a huge amount of people. We're offering, different services,
right.
Telling them about like our foster program, volunteer program, about our, clinic. A lot of people don't even know that we do vaccines and tags and stuff. So just in that sense alone, it works for us because now you're getting the community engaged with us. And then if someone didn't see a pet that they liked at that event for whatever reason,
right.
they show up later at the shelter and they find a new one. It still works for us.
Or if the pet that we're interested in adopted, you can lead them to another one.
Exactly.
Which is good. It's good to be out there in the community and like put ourselves out there to let people know that we exist, that we're this entity that provides different types of services for the pets in our community as well as the homeless pets. So you mentioned that obviously at these events, not everything is about adoption. Sometimes we just go out to these events just to provide information. And it depends on like obviously what the event, I guess, like you mentioned, the audience of the event. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that. Like how do we select whether or not like it's a good adoption event or it's more of an informational event?
Yeah, so we usually try and do like the same events over and over. So what we would do is like PetSmart, Petco's, those are some that we'll do a lot. Just different little organizations in the community, like different breweries, different little parks. Right. And so we'll go to these and we'll kind of talk with our adoption counselors and see how they felt about it. If they thought it was a good turnout, if they thought like people were just kind of passing by.
Right.
We kind of judge based off them because they have a good sense of that. So then again, like just getting out information. So
yeah.
obviously our main goal here is adoptions,
Right.
but we do want to get out information. So what we do is we'll just kind of send people out there, reach out into the community, and go from there.
Yeah. I mean, that makes a lot of sense because obviously, you know, some people actually still are willing to help. That's why we offer so many programs that people can still help without feeling the need to commit to an adoption, because, you know, it is a lifelong commitment, and that we hope that, you know, we get dogs into homes, especially those people that adopt puppies that don't adopt them as their puppies and don't end up returning them later on for whatever the circumstances are. We want them to stay in forever homes, but I know that that's a big commitment and sometimes people can't do that. So it's good to get our information out that we offer, you know, fostering, which we'll get into shortly, but volunteering, and that we offer services to those that already have pets. You know, the clinic, that we offer low cost vaccines and microchipping and things like that. So it is important. And as well as just educational outreach. He's just knocked out. He's
sleeping.
I'm telling you, he's such a chill dog. Like, I'm so sad that this sweet senior dog is still there. This dog was actually recommended to us by our mutual friend Amber, who was previously on here a few weeks ago. She somehow was able to find his whole history and tell us about him. I was like, okay, cool. And I met him, and I'm like, I can see why she likes him, because he's just a super chill dog. And it just makes us so sad to see dogs like this in the shelter, because of course everybody comes looking for the puppies, the little dogs. And I've noticed that lately, like, we haven't had like a need for like cats too much. Like, our cats get adopted really easily, even like large cats and adult cats. So obviously when we go to the events, we're mostly taking dogs, not really so much cats.
For sure.
Yeah, and we do have that partnership with local PetSmarts and Petco's throughout the county, where we place the cats that come in those adoption centers. So they're remote all across our county, and obviously we've talked about it before on here that our county is really large. So some people, you know, down in south in the Homestead and Florida City communities may feel like, oh, Doral's too far, like. So, but they can go adopt a pet somewhere locally that they may have either a PetSmart, Petco, Pet whatever the adoption event that they have down there. So it's good for our cats, but what we really need help with is our dogs, of course.
100%.
Which brings me to fostering. So I know that you guys, you and your partner for events work really close to Amber and the foster team, as far as like, you know, for events, because, you know, sometimes we want to draw a crowd to events and we want to show them like, hey, we're going to have these type of dogs here, this size dog here. Cause I know a lot of times people come looking for that. So tell us how like foster and like, what's the relationship like? How does it work? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so like you said, we work super close. Luckily, we're friends outside of work, so that helps out even better.
It does help.
But yeah, so like what happens usually is the dog or cat, but mostly dog, will either be like sick or too young. So what we'll do is we'll put them on a foster, so that once they are older or they are healthy, we can send them out to these events. And so usually we are taking like big dogs like this,
right?
But not everyone is kind of looking for that,
right?
So having these smaller dogs, or you could say pure breed dogs,
the highly adoptable dogs,
highly adoptable is what we use in the shelter, but that's what's going to draw the attention,
right? And
then so it just kind of works both ways, because you don't want to send out these dogs sick or super young to where now the adopter has to return them, and you know, it's just a lot of stress on the dog unnecessarily. So not only are you helping them in that sense, but then you're drawing a bigger crowd to our events, so kind of scratch your back, scratch mine kind of thing. So yeah, besides that, I mean, we're kind of always working together, you know, talking, I need cats for this event, or I need dogs for that event,
right?
Or they'll let us know, hey, look, we just got these puppies and they're only 4 weeks old or 5 weeks old, like, do you have something later on that we can use them for,
right?
And we kind of just work based off that. But you can see we work super close together, always representing.
Always repping.
Saves lives.
Yeah, I have my foster shirt too. If I would have known you were going to wear it, I would have worn it too, so we can match.
Neonate season.
Neonate season, yes. Neonate season has been hitting us really, really hard. I've just been seeing litter after litter after litter of kittens. Been
bad lately.
I was actually in the cat room yesterday taking pictures, and it was just like every other room was a litter of kittens, and I'm just like, but it's good because, you know, people are going to come and adopt the kittens. but at the same time, it's like, wow, that's a lot of work. And I know you have fostered kittens.
Yeah.
I personally wouldn't have given myself that torture. Like, so I've had, I have my own 3 cats and I've raised them since they were young, but not neonates. So tell me a little bit about that neonate fostering experience, because I know it can be brutal.
I mean, the first time I did it, it was definitely nerve-wracking, because if you've never done that before, it can be a little stressful. So these neonates are sometimes anywhere from like a day old to a few weeks old. So you're basically feeding them every 2 hours, keeping them warm, stimulating them, because you're basically like their mom in a way.
Their foster mom. Yeah.
So what happens is when like you kidnap them, as we call it, now these neonates are fighting for themselves.
Right.
So we do the best we can to help them in that sense. So yeah, I've fostered as young as I think a day old, with like umbilical cord still attached, eyes closed. And then like the most recent one I did was I think 3 or 4 weeks old.
Okay.
And
that's
then
a little
I've done
easier.
it from
a little.
You're still feeding every few hours and stuff, but yeah. And I've done as short as one night to a few weeks. So
yeah. I mean, it is a lot of work. That's why I won't sign up for neonate fostering. Sorry, foster team. I've only done like puppies, which for that was a lot of work, but they weren't neonates, and a couple adult dogs. But then I recently failed, and my dog is still here. But cats are just not like, I have my own cats and I love them, but I tried fostering one kitten, and unfortunately, sometimes they don't make it. And this kitten didn't make it, and I was just like, it was a lot of work. That was one. And then 2, I was like, and he didn't even make it. So I was like, that's enough for me to be like, ugh.
Yeah, it can be traumatizing.
It is. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to discourage you all from watching and that are interested in fostering, because it really does save lives. You're giving them a chance. Ultimately, the best thing for kittens is to remain with their mom. So like how he mentioned, and we've mentioned in previous segments, that, you don't want to kidnap kittens. If you find a litter of kittens, best thing to do is leave them exactly where they are. Try not to touch them. Try not to disturb them. If they're in immediate danger, you can move them slightly out of the way, somewhere easy that their mom can still find them, because chances are mom is just either catching a little bit of a break, mom life is hard, looking for food, or looking for a better place to put them. So unless you can confirm that unfortunately mom, is not coming back, which is usually over 24 hours, or she has unfortunately passed away. Sometimes, they fall injured or sick and they don't make it. So unless you can confirm that, then the best thing to do is leave them exactly where you found them. And again, if you come to that conclusion that you need to take care of them because mom can't do it, then there's certain steps and things that you would need to take in order to try and hopefully give them the best chance of survival. We can provide neonate care kits, which our foster team hands out when somebody wants to take that responsibility of caring for a kitten. If not, if you unfortunately can't do it, then, we try to accept as many as we can to try and find foster families. And a lot of times employees have to end up taking them home for at least a night until we're able to successfully pair them with a foster parent. But it is a lot of work. And honestly, the mom will do the best care possible. And they're better off with her. So just please don't kidnap kittens. Yeah. What else did we want to talk about? Well, something very exciting happened this week. One of our longest shelter resident, the longest shelter resident this week was recently adopted. So Lucky Charms, which we have pictures of. This is sweet little Lucky Charms. So she was a 6-year-old American Bulldog mix that came into Animal Services in 2022. So were you an adoption counselor, or you were
I was actually a kennel?
Okay, so this was a while ago. Wow. So you've been through all 3 positions while she's been here. That's how long she's been here. So Lucky Charms came in, I think, as a regular stray, as 90% of our population comes in a regular stray. And she was with us. She was doing good. Unfortunately, she had an incident with another dog, and it kind of made her very fearful of new people, of new dogs. So we kind of had to work with her one-on-one. We gave her a break from the shelter. We sent her to Petco, which is our satellite location closer here in the South Miami community, where she hung out for, I think, like a year, right?
Pretty much.
She was here for about a year in the Petco location. And, the Petco location is is a lot easier for a dog like this to kind of integrate herself back into society, because it's a way smaller population of our shelter dogs. All the dogs that are there are still shelter dogs, but these are like 10?
Yeah, anywhere from like 10 to 15.
So 10 to 15 dogs. So it's nowhere near as overwhelming or as crowded as our Doral location, of course. And they work closely with a couple staff members that are assigned and rotated out of there like every few months. So it's more like hands-on, one-on-one care. So she was able to get that. And we were slowly able to integrate her into, going back to hanging out with other dogs, like how she used to do. She used to actively participate in play groups and stuff like that. So she then went to this training program to help her even further. So she was with Applause Your Paws training, also here near the South Miami community. Applause Your Paws training had her for about 4 weeks and worked on basic obedience with her, which she kind of already knew some things. She was a smart girl. But she learned a lot of like what this guy knows: sit down, stay, come, paw. And that ultimately helped her to get to the point where we are now. So tell us a little bit more about like how her adoption went, and then we'll share the cute little adoption picture with everybody. And tell us about like how you met her, obviously.
Yeah, so like you brought up, she came a while ago.
Yeah.
So I was actually still in kennel. And me personally, I'm a sucker for bullies. So she was just a super cute, bully, and I just kind of fell in love with her there. And then, from there I went to adoption counselor. And then as part of, like I said earlier, with adoption counselor, you go to these events. So I was always taking her, like trying to get her adopted, promoting her. And then as time kind of just went on, she went from another dog to one of the longest to now she's been here for a year. So now she's been here almost 2 years to the longest dog. Right. So it went from a handful of us, promoting her to now it's the whole shelter's
focused
goal.
On her. Yeah.
And so, we kind of just worked with her, like you said, all these different scenarios and stuff. But this is a great example of, you can't go into the shelter thinking I'm going to find my dog today right now and I'm going to take her home. So this adopter actually worked with Lucky Charms for 2 or 3 weeks. So he had multiple visits, came in, saw her. He liked her. He thought she was super cute. But again, with how she was kind of nervous meeting people, but he understood that. So it wasn't like, oh no, she's nervous around me, like this is not for me. He understood her past, like what happened, and he was like, no worries, like I'll definitely work with her. So he came a few times, met her and played with her, and she actually started to open up with him, which is huge because, like we said, like she was pretty selective with her people.
She was very reserved,
Yeah, so they started playing, like in the office, like he would hand her toys and she would do great with him. And then finally on that last day, they were in there just hanging out, and I think what finally sealed it is he had one of her toys. He like kind of threw it to her, and she brought it up to him and just like kind of laid her head on his thigh, and there he is right there.
Look at you there too, part of the adoption.
Yeah. So me, Jerry, the guy standing next to me there, we really worked as hard as we could on this adoption. Everybody in that picture did. Really, everybody in the shelter did.
Yeah. So we have different staff members there. We have a couple from Kennel, which is the purple shirts, and then we have adoptions. The green and the gray, which is adoptions, and then Jerry is the customer service supervisor, and you, of course, the event coordinator. So this is obviously a team effort. I mean, I was involved in Lucky Charms' life too. She often came up to my office right after she returned from training, because unfortunately we were hoping that as soon as she returned from training, we can try to get her into a home. It's like, hey, yeah, she's ready to go. But like you said, it took some time because she did have a couple meet and greets, and being nervous did kind of put her off from other people, which I understand. Some people can't commit to that. I get it. So no harm, like nothing to them. Like, everything happened for a reason, and now Lucky Charms is in the best place possible. We actually even did a really cute video of her, which Amber helped us a lot with, where we showed her like her first day at the shelter versus, like her almost 600 day at the shelter, and like how her mood changed. And that video actually went viral. I think it got over like 3 million views. We had influencers come and do videos with her. We really pushed for her. We took her to media, and like I said, she hung out in my office a few times just because because Flora, who's been on here before, loved her so much. She liked working with her. She liked practicing her training. So she would hang out in my office couple hours out of the day each day, Monday through Friday. So we did get to hang a lot, and I did see that she was a sweet dog. I didn't get to meet her because we have so many, when she first came in. But when she started being that, like, okay, now she's here for a year, like now we're like, okay, we really got to try to push these dogs out. That's when I kind of started to getting introduced to her, and she is a really good girl. With me, obviously she wasn't bad. It's more like with men that she had kind of that like nervousness with, but even with some new people that she wasn't aware of, she did it. Thankfully she didn't do it with me, so we bonded really closely. But we're very, very happy that she found her forever home, and we're actually working on a cute little happy tail video. So if you guys follow us on Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, you're going to be able to see soon how she's doing in her new home, which we're very happy for this gentleman. And I think he still keeps in contact with Jerry. So they're getting update pictures of how she's doing. And
which I was going to say, like, she's a perfect example of like a shelter dog, and just take your time and patience. And she was real nervous, and she had bad kennel presence. Anyone that saw her was like, oh no,
they would say, oh no, she's aggressive.
And now she's at home cuddling with him. She sleeps in bed with him. He actually has, I think, 2 other dogs.
Oh, that's perfect.
They get along great. Like, so just
and back to what you were saying about the meet and greets, like sometimes it doesn't work out right away. Like I think a lot of people, not saying that you should force it either, like exactly. The chemistry does have to be there, and you also have to be willing to put it in work, because unfortunately we don't know all the circumstances that these shelter dogs have been through. Sometimes they go through a lot, like sometimes we're able to find out some things, sometimes we really don't know. But you do have to give them their chance to open up. You have to be willing to work with them as well. Some dogs are great right off the bat, and you may get there that day, find a cute dog, and that dog may be ready to go home with you that day. But sometimes you may have to do multiple meet and greets, especially if there's other dogs in the household. We always encouraged you to try and bring the other dogs here to the shelter to try and do a safe meet and greet, so that we have our professionals here to make sure that your dog doesn't get hurt, but our dogs don't get hurt either. So we just really have to have that patience and be willing to work with them. And we advocate so much for adoption instead of buying. And it could be a little bit more of a process, but I promise you it's worth it, especially 100%. when we get success stories like this, where a dog spent 615 days in our shelter and then she finally was adopted. They just end up being so grateful, like, for you. They just love you different than a dog that you bought. For sure. I mean, I could say that because I have a dog that I've had since I was in 10th grade, and I mean, we bought him from like literally off the street, off the street, but he's been spoiled rotten ever since we got him. And then I have my shelter dog now, who is the sweetest and most appreciative dog in the world. And it's like, you're two different two different things. 100%. All right, well, we're very happy with that adoption. It was really like emotional for a lot of people. So definitely. I know, I'm sure more you than me, because you got to interact with her ever since she first got here. But we're very happy for Lucky. All right, so we have one more thing to go over. Very important. Something big is happening tomorrow. So obviously one of events tasks is to try and keep up with the trends and make sure that we're putting out adoption events that are trending within the community. And we have a very special announcement. So tell us a little bit more about what's going on tomorrow. So like you said, we always try and keep up with the times and stay relevant and engage with the community. So pretty much, if you're a Star Wars fan, if you like dogs, or both, tomorrow, Amelia Earhart, we're going to be hosting May the 4th adoption event. So it's going to be from 10 in the morning to 6 p.m. We're going to have food trucks. We're going to have cosplayers, a DJ. We're going to have I think we're going to have close to 100 dogs out there for adoption. So definitely come out. Try and find your forever pet. You can be like Lucky Charms the next one, or you can come get somebody like Hercules that's here just hanging out with us. But hopefully we'll have a great turnout. And it'll be real fun for everybody. I'm excited. We're going to be there all day, 10 to 6, but hopefully we can get as many dogs out there as possible. We are taking a large percentage of our medley dogs, which are dogs that obviously need the most help because they're not getting seen every single day, obviously because our overflow facility is not open to the public. And they're all going to be large dogs because that's what we need the most help with. Like, I know some people may be interested in going for a puppy or a smaller dog, but trust me, these big dogs have so much love to give. And we have some cute young ones. I mean, they're big already, but they're young. They're under a year old that will be there. I've gotten to interact with a lot of the medley dogs, and they just want their home. So please make sure to join us out there, and make sure to share this information with somebody that you know that may be looking to adopt, or maybe already has a dog. Maybe you can convince them. So,
or just come out because you like Star Wars.
Or just come out because you like Star Wars. Yeah, just show your support.
Might find somebody that you fall in love with.
Just come and show your support. We're both going to be there. Alain's going to be working there all day, so bless your heart. But I'll be there right when it starts. So come out and let's have some fun. And may the first be with you.
Yep.